So cubic centimeters is actually a way to measure volume. Okay, it's volume in cubes. A way to measure volume. Alright, and so for example, we can measure this in centimeters. We could measure the length of any of these sides in centimeters. Alright, and the volume is how many centimeters. Let's say these are cubic centimeters. How many of these could actually fit inside it? These would be cubic centimeters. Okay, so that's a way to measure volume. Square centimeters on the other hand, we can still measure this in centimeters, but that square centimeters only measure surfaces. So if I were to draw squares on this in centimeters, that would be how many square centimeters were on this. So that is a way to measure surfaces. A way to measure surfaces. Okay, and one thing you'll notice, cubic centimeters are 3D, square centimeters are 2D, right? So this is going to be something that's flat. You're going to be measuring something flat for square centimeters because it's like a square, right? And squares are flat. So that's how you can remember that. For cubic centimeters, it's not flat, right? It's not flat. It's like a cube. It has some dimensions to it. Has some more dimensions to it. So it has to be something that you can put this inside of, or if it was hollowed out. All right, and then we have square inches. This is also a way to measure surfaces. This is a way to measure surfaces. And because it's square, you can probably also guess that this is also 2D, except it would be like measuring this in inches instead of in centimeters. Okay, so those are all the vocabulary words for this lesson. The skills and concepts we want you to be able to do. We want the kids to be able to measure length to the nearest centimeter. So taking, let's say, this rectangular prism, we want them to say, well, let's see, this is 7.5 centimeters. We want them to say, okay, that could call that 8. All right, but also if they can do to 7.5, that's even better. We want them to be able to measure area as square units. So to be able to take this rectangular prism and be able to say, well, let's see, this is about 8, and this one is about, let's see, 3.5, about 4, and no, okay, 8 times 4 is going to be 32. So the surface of this is 32 square units. So we want kids to be able to start doing that. We want them to be able to identify the parallel sides of a rectangular prism. So this is a side and this is a side, and they're parallel because remember, parallel sides keep on going straight. They would never ever cross. Okay, I could turn it here and these are parallel sides. Okay, these are parallel sides here. So rectangular prisms have many parallel sides. And we also want them to be able to identify the bases of a rectangular prism. So the top and the bottom. Okay, those are the bases. And then the sides around are the faces. Okay, so those are the key things we want kids to know. Alright, and as far as how you can help with this at home, use this vocabulary. Okay, volume and height of a prism, volume and height, these are used for much more than just rectangular prisms. So if you're pouring juice into a container, I mean, a glass is a little bit different, but you can still talk about the volume in that. If you're doing any construction projects around home, or kids are doing any building with Legos or any other types of blocks, okay, you guys could talk about, what do you think the volume of that is? What do you think the height of that is? Do you have any rectangular prisms in the materials that you're using? So just try to use the vocabulary words and get kids used to how it works. And also, as far as cubic centimeters and square centimeters, just understanding the difference between something with 3 dimensions that pops out and something with 2 dimensions that is flat. Okay, that's a big key understanding too that we want kids to be able to understand. So any way you can think to reinforce that at home and by using any of these concepts would be very helpful, even if you have just some wood blocks, just talking about the differences in how big those are. So this is lesson 10.2, volume, the parent help video for grade 3 everyday math.